Hello, everyone. Now, I have a question for all of you today. Who would you call a genius? Would it be Albert Einstein, the man who revolutionized our thinking about the very nature of the universe? Or would it be Mozart, the man who was composing long and difficult sonatas by age 5? Or maybe my dad's personal favorite, Michael Jordan, the sporting legend. Or would it be William Shakespeare, the man who composed over 400 sonnets, plays, and performances in his lifetime? Or let's look at this scenario for a minute. One man invented an $8 million sensor system to make sure that no boxes came down the assembly line empty and increased trust in his company. But then a boy came along and he said, let's take $20 and put in an electric fan, blow the boxes off the line. Would you call him a genius? So I'd like to just talk about mathematical geniuses, just for a minute. Well, mathematics is a bit different because mathematics is a logical science. And if you don't know how to think logically, you have a huge disadvantage when it comes to solving math. So a person with high IQ who doesn't know how to think logically in mathematics will score worse than a person with low IQ who knows how to think logically in mathematics. So it is more important to know how to think logically in mathematics rather than to be smart. So being a mathematical genius isn't a genetic gift. It is a combination of hard work and knowing how to think in mathematics. And, well, I can't help you with hard work. That's something that you guys have to do yourself. But what I can give you is the cheat code that all mathematicians use, including Einstein when he was alive, and how you can use them. So let's start off with cheat code number 1. Always, always, always be lazy. Mathematicians, we love laziness. Come on, we have a problem to solve at the end of the day. Why not put the least amount of effort you can possibly put in it, still end up solving the problem, and then go out for a nice cup of tea afterward? So a lot of mathematicians, professional mathematicians, these are the professionals I'm talking about, they abide by this laziness principle. They try and find the simplest route possible from wherever they're at, and only pursue the simplest route. All of the hard routes, they're neglected. So why take the easy path? Turns out it's because of this thing called Occam's razor. Somehow never seems to work in real life, but works very well in mathematics. Occam's razor states, the simplest solution is 95% of the time the correct solution. Mathematics likes elegance and simplicity. So, in our principle of laziness, do the least work possible. You end up being more likely to get the correct answer. Laziness is the best thing you can do in mathematics. So, my first point is, always be lazy. Try and make the problem as simple as possible, and then take the simplest route you can from it. Now, on to the second cheat code. My second cheat code is called compartmentalization. And as you might guess, it does involve putting things into compartments. And what I mean is, you take a math problem, you chop it up into little bits, and write it down in regular English on a paper. A process that takes around 1 minute, tops. So why is it even necessary? Let's say the boiler in my house, it broke. I need to fix it. So I ask you, go find a spanner. And, well, this is what my garage looks like. You would come out, number 1, needing a tetanus shot, and number 2, without the spanner. But if they were all in order, like this, you would be in and out in 10 seconds. Well, now 10 seconds is much preferable to 10 minutes and an hour-long tetanus shot. So why not do the easy pre-processing step first, and then try and solve the problem? Putting things in regular English makes your brain understand it much better. It naturally makes it easier to find ideas and go forward in solving the question. So, my second cheat code is compartmentalization. Make the problem as easy as you can for yourself before you even start off. This means that you'll be able to solve the problem much better than you usually would. Now, third cheat code, trickery. Now, trickery and math don't usually go very well together, do they? But in this case, you're tricking yourself. How do you even trick yourself? Like this. Say I ask you, go climb this cliff. Your brain's first and instant reaction is, thank you very much, have a nice day, bye-bye. No, it's too difficult, I can't do this. And you're right, it is a V16. It's a very difficult cliff. Chances are you can't climb it. But what if I said this instead? Go climb this. And now that are the steps at Wadi Shoka. It's a trail that I've hiked before. There are around 700 steps, but it's a bit of a pain, but it's very doable in under an hour. So what I've done is Wadi Shoka's trail and the cliff in the previous picture, they're both the same height. The cliff didn't shrink, but your first reaction was, the cliff is impossible and the steps are easy. It's the same problem. Why not give yourself steps in a math problem and make it very easy for yourself? Well, what mathematicians do is they only focus on the next step forward in a problem. Only the next step. And that means the problem is now split up into 700 sub-steps, like the Wadi Shoka. And not only does this make your life much easier in terms of what you have to do, once you solve the first step, which isn't that difficult to achieve, your brain gets a dopamine rush. And that dopamine rush turns on neurons in your cerebellum. And your cerebellum helps you do math. So, once you get this dopamine rush, neurons turn on. And neurons turn on means you're smarter. Your brain power is boosted by at least 30% if you split the problem into steps without doing anything else at all. So, my third cheat code is trickery. Convince your brain that it is in fact smart, and it will be smart. Split the problem into steps. Now, on to the fourth cheat code. With a simple name, point A to point B. Well, mathematics, in one sentence. Start at point A, take some sequence of steps forward, end at point B. That's all there is to mathematics. But mathematics steps are a lot like steps in real life, in the way that you can do it in many different ways. You don't just take steps. You can bike, ride a car, ride a Ferrari. You can do a million different things. And what a mathematics problem looks like is this exact problem. Say, I go into Google Maps, and I put two random points 10,000 kilometers apart, opposite ends of the world. How do I get from my point A in Brazil to point B in Russia? Well, your first thought, wouldn't it be to take a plane, right? Because planes are the things that cover long distances. But my first point is somewhere along the coast of Brazil, and there's no airport there. So you can't just hop on a plane. You have to first walk, get in a car, go to the airport, walk again, do a million different things before you can get to your final destination. It's just like that in math. You take different modes of transportation, which are actually tactics, different approaches, and you have to string loads of them together to solve a problem. Now, you'll see that the path on the screen, it isn't a very straight path at all. It backtracks, it goes forward, it gets slower, it gets faster. And that's because in mathematics, you make progress at different rates, just like in real life. You make more ground in a plane than you do walking. But this is what geniuses are really good at, figuring out which tactics to use in which position. They change gears very, very quickly. If something doesn't work, like your car, it goes on a road, you can't go any further. Get out of your car and start walking. That's what geniuses do. This isn't very efficient though. So why can't I just make something that gets from point A to point B straight? And this is doable. And that is what super geniuses like Einstein do. They invent a totally new framework that just gets you from point A to point B straight. So much easier and nicer, right? You don't need to go through any of the intermediate steps. And Einstein's most successful framework was the theory of relativity, special relativity, and general relativity. So what Einstein started off with was he had this issue. So light was meant to travel at a constant speed at all times, correct? Because if it doesn't, then you end up with your reflection disappearing off mirrors. And I can see my reflection, so that's wrong. So if light's traveling at a constant speed, but someone, let's say they're moving as well. If they're moving as well, that means that the light appears slower to them because they're already moving quite fast. So how does light travel at a constant speed? It doesn't have enough time to move the distance it should. Einstein's response was this: light has enough time because we give it time. Time slows down if you move. The faster you move, the slower time goes. If I, walking on the stage, were to hold up a nanosecond clock right now, my clock would be ticking minutely slower than your clock, sitting in the audience at rest. So, while I'm walking over here, by some minute fraction, I am aging slower than you are in the audience. I stop, I go back to aging the same rate as you. Now, this has been experimentally proven. People took two twins. One went to the ISS. One stayed on the ground their whole life. They reunited, and then what did they do? They checked their biological age. It was different. The twin on the ground had aged more. So Einstein's theory of special relativity, that time travels at different rates, has been scientifically proven. And this was his framework. That was his life's work. So, my fourth cheat code is point A to point B. Be open to stitching multiple different ideas into the same problem. And if you're a super genius, and you want to be one, well, just find a way to get straight from point A to point B. Make your own framework. Now, on to my fifth cheat code. Please be as dumb as you possibly can in mathematics problems. Being dumb is a time-honored technique that actually has quite good yields in mathematics problems. It has been used by everyone from Stephen Wolfram to Thomas Edison. And here's how. Look at this monstrosity over here. It has the very short name, the shortest possible axiom for Boolean logic. And its nightmarish composition doesn't really help its cause. Well, shortest possible means shortest. Boolean logic means logic of computers, on or off. And axiom means the shortest thing you can write so that you can get everything humanity knows from it. And that is that thing. And how did they find it? It was through this extremely intelligent series of steps. Number 1, turn on laptop. Number 2, type in find shortest possible axiom for Boolean logic. Number 3, leave computer running for a week, drink some tea, come back, and get the answer. That is how they achieved this monumental result. The dumbest way possible. And now, on to Thomas Edison. He's known to have tried over 3,000 different materials, including 1,000 murdered plants, for his project. If it wasn't tungsten, it was going to be bamboo for the light bulb. We'd have bamboo light bulbs. And why did he have to try such an insane amount of materials? It wasn't geniusness. He simply didn't know what would work. So he just said, I will try everything until I get a solution. 3,000 materials he used. This would be considered one of the dumbest approaches anyone has ever tried to take. But it worked. Every light bulb here came from Thomas Edison's dumb one. So If I want you to take anything back from my TED Talk today, it would be these 5 things. These 5 cheat codes are what Einstein used all the time back in 1909 in his Annus Mirabilis. Use the easiest way possible to solve a problem. Make the problem as easy as possible for yourself. Trick yourself into becoming smarter. Point A to point B. Be open to stitching multiple ideas together to make the solution, and then try and figure out a way to get straight from point A to point B. And 5th, be dumb. If all else fails, brute force it, take the dumb approach, and it will work. And with those 5 cheat codes, that is how all mathematicians work. With those 5 cheat codes, if you put in the hours, I can guarantee that someone in this crowd could be the next Einstein. Thank you.